Hi, everyone. Now that we're putting out industry launches, we're doing more of them, and we're going to be able to cycle through all of them, improving the websites as we go, adding more content, improving SEO. It's not like we should have done it all the first time around anyway. First of all, there's like millions of things you can do to improve pages. You could go on forever. But second of all, Google wants to see consistency. So you are intentionally setting yourself up such that you can add and then add some more, then add some more, then improve, improve, improve. That's what I mean. Add improvements, improvements, improvements. More content, improve things. More content, improve things. So even if you could already project all of that and you think that's how I should launch, fine. But then you still have to add improvements, add improvements, add improvements consistently anyway, right? Google wants to see consistency. All right, now this is the stuff we've been automating to make it really simple to do on all these industries. This is the first time we've ever been able to do this. It's basically the first time anyone can. All right, competitors don't know how to do this. They're always trying to cut corners, and now we don't have to for the first time. So we are just uber competitive with everybody else. Now, with that in mind, I have guys come and say, how do you create variation? How do you create uniqueness? And how far can you take that? I want to go and explain that because a lot of people are still, trying to doubt or work with that in their mind's eye. If they feel like they put a lot of pages out and not nearly enough got indexed, how much work is it to get from step one to step two to step three to step four? Or better yet, if you did all that work to get to like step four, how much extra work is it to get to like step 10 or step 20 or step 50? Okay, let me go ahead and get into that right now. We're going to talk about permutations. And in this case, because there are many ways to go, you could almost say we're going to talk about factorials, but we're not taking it that far out. Most things, when it comes to websites, factorials can rapidly turn into massive numbers. And so that's not where we're going. But what we are talking about is um, sections of factorials, pieces. A factorial, by the way, would be like this: 1 times 1, 2 times 1, 3 times 2 times 1, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, 5. So factorial 5 is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Factorial 6 is 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So you can see how the numbers can get massive really, really quickly. Well, we're going to do part of that. So we're going to say something like this. Let's say we started with, and this applies to everything, by the way, color schemes, different images, headlines, header one, header twos, paragraphs, fonts, okay? All, whether you go fixed or full width, whether you go different banner heights, I mean, all these things are basically put together to create uniqueness. And so all you have to do is move a few of those levers a little bit, and you have something that Google calls different. Move a few more levers, you have something called that Google calls different. It's not telling you how to run your business. It doesn't know whether your banner height should be yay so high or yay so high. It doesn't know whether your site should be based on red or blue. It doesn't know which good font is the best font. It's not going to tell you. It's going to let you put those things up to see yourself which market's better. Now, what Google can do is recognize the variety in what you're putting out and stick it in different places its own way. And what you can do is provide Google yet more variety, yet more variety, yet more variety surrounding your themes. Okay, so let me just show you an example of what I mean by that. Let's say we start off with something like this. Let's say we got 6 images and stuck them in our website, and maybe they're the banner images. Okay, so for banner images, that's these right here. I'm just going to talk about that one piece for just a moment. We'll use that as a model and then extrapolate through everything else just to make the point. Then you'll see it. You'll start to see just immediately understand the variability, the power in that. So here we have one image, and if I wait long enough, it switches to another image. If I wait long enough, it'll switch to yet another image, right? Well, what were the choices that we had for these images? Let's say, okay, for variability's sake, we had 3 choices for the first image. In other words, we got 3 different images, set them up or whatever. Then we created a couple more images. So we have like 4 and 5, okay, those are a couple more images, and 6. Okay, so we have 6 total images and we just aligned them this way. In our var sheet, it's like banner image 1, choose from one of these, banner image 2, choose from one of these, banner image 3, choose from one of these, and that's it. That's how we did it. So how many combinations exist in this setup? Well, it's 3 times 2 times 1. That's a total of 6 combinations, right? Okay. Well, what if we said, okay, that's some variety. I want to create more variety. Maybe a month has passed and you want to add more variety into your project all the way around. You want to go back through the websites and recascade. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you want to push it further and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 through the whole stack. That creates a lot of variety, right? So we're gonna just do a little bit more work. We did all the work it took to get 6 images going. Let's do a little more work. Let's put another layer of possible images, just 3 more images. So we're gonna get our image number 7. And then here we're gonna put our image number 8 as an option. And here we'll put our image number 9 as an option. Okay, so now what do we have? We have 9 total images, but what does that mean? That means we have 4 choices for the first image, times 3 for the second, which is 12, times 2 for the last one, which is now 24. So we did half as many images over, and we now have 4 times the total variability that we had before in that one little piece. In other words, we took this and made it 4 times as rich with combinations. Either I'm talking about combinations as in on the sitemap, did I do a sitemap on the site? Yeah. That this page is showing a different combination than that page, which is, or this subdomain showing a different combination than that, which is showing a different combination than that, which is showing a different combination than that. So if I got 2,500 subdomains here, and I had, let's say I had 24, variations, then basically I'm using the same set, each different set 100 times. Okay, say, and that's it. Let's say we had 2,400 pages here in our sitemap. We obviously don't, but let's say we did. Then it would be 24 sets, 100 subdomains, 2,400 subdomains. So it's like 100 per. Okay. Let's say we wanted to create more variety. Okay, we're going for 2,400 subdomains. Let's say we do this again. So let's say this will be our 10th image and our 11th image and our 12th image. Okay, now we got 5 times 4 is 20 times 3 is 60, right? Is that correct? Yeah, 5 times 4, 20 times 3, 60. Okay. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Because now we went from 4 times as many possibilities. Now it's 10 times as many possibilities. You know what's funny? We only doubled the number of images. We went from originally 6. We did that much work one more time. It didn't give us double the possibilities. It didn't take us from 6 to 12. It didn't. It multiplied those possibilities by a factor of 10. 10 total variations. It doesn't mean that Google's going to be completely grabbing all those 10. It means that we can provide 10 variations and let Google pick. Well, if you provide 6 variations and let Google pick, it's going to pick less than if you provide 24 variations and let Google pick. And it'll pick less than if you provide 60 variations. Okay? Unless Google thinks it's too similar. But that's where we can just go creating more variety in other ways. We have more sections of the website to deal with. Let me make this point again. I just want to be really, really clear. What if it's 13, 14, 15, right? 15. Then what do we have? 6 times 5 is 30 times 4 is what, 120? 30 times 4? Yeah. 5 times, 6 times 5 is 30 times 4, 120, right? Totally doubled the 60. So now we have 20 times, okay? And we only have 2.5 times as many images. Now, let me make this point. I knew a guy who did like this. He had 40. Okay. He had 40. And then he had 39, and then he had 38. Wow. So not even 120 images, right? 119, 18, 17, 117 total images. But how many combinations is that? That's 40 times 39 times 38 equals 59,280 possible combinations. What's my point? If you had 2,400 subdomains, if you were doing that, then it's 100 sets of each. But if you're doing that, take your 100 sets of each and divide by 5, it's 20 sets of each, right? Just 20, not 100. And then by the time you get here, I mean, you're off the charts, right? 59,280 subdomains in the sitemap. Heck, man, each one of those having who knows how many pages, like 20. I mean, it's an insanely massive website, right? Like a 600,000 page website. You better have a lot of keywords and geo-targets to justify that, because it's basically cities times keywords is how many pages you can make on one topic, anyway, one thing on one website. Okay. Now I want to now that I've made that point pretty clear, because what are we auto generating? Like 80 images for a website. Okay. I mean, just on the fly, right? That's pretty crazy, because we can obviously put more. We could put 800 per website if we really want. We're doing about 800 images per hour. That's why we're saying 80 per website times 10 websites. Say that's taking care of images for 10 websites an hour, the big banner images. Okay. Now, where else does this concept apply? You take however many you got in this column times however many you got in that column times however many you got in that column, and you keep going. Those are the total variation possibilities. It applies to headlines. That could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headlines. That could be the H1 tag. This could be the H2 tag, the first instance further down on the page. 5 coming down. That could be the second H2 tag even further down on the page, the second instance, right? So that's a lot of combinations of headers, right? We can make a bunch of different pages using different header combinations, especially if you do what? What if you take those header principles, like the question being asked, and you include either a geo-target or a keyword, or a geo-targeted keyword? Well, now if it's a geo-target and you had like 200 cities, then it's really 200 times this. Then again, the same 200 times this, really. So it's really the same thing, and then that's really the same thing, right? But you'd have 200 times this times that times that. All right? That would be like what? 120 times 200? 1,200, 24,000 headline combinations. Okay? What if you do that with some paragraphs? You've got like a paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, and paragraph 5 on the page. And you had like 5 variations of each of those 5 paragraphs. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, that's 625 times 5, 31,250 different unique pages you can make where at least one of the paragraphs changes. Now, you need more than one paragraph to change for the page to be valuable, but not really. As long as each page is devoted to a different city, then even one paragraph change out of 5 can be enough. 2 is pretty good. Google's expecting 30% change per page, but that's even without geography. The reason geography changes is you should not have to change your pitch going from one city to another, because you're not competing for the same keywords. If you're somebody's in Chicago looking for a plumber, they're doing a search for a Chicago plumber, you're going to pitch them the best pitch you can. But if that's your winning pitch and you have a branch in Denver, then for Denver plumber, you basically want to use the same pitch, but with the Denver information. Now, some other things may change on the page. The phone number to call, the name of the rep that they're going to talk to. It could be Dan over here, it could be Bob over there, right? A few other factors could change. Time zone, hours of operation, a number of things that make the page a little different, okay? Maybe the image being pitched, okay? But there you have it, right? Now, in our case, we can throw a bunch of stuff up and let Google show what it wants to show. And then if we go, okay, that's pretty good, but now that we see what Google's doing with this site, let's push it further. We can see what's ranking, so we can create more stuff in there. We can see what's not ranking and try a different angle. We can just generally put out a lot more combinations, and we can go back and look at our pages for, like SEO, and see if there's something we can do to improve it. Having said that, let me come back to this concept because I want to make sure you guys are really, really clear. What could this be? Colors that you use on the top, like color schemes for the website. And then this could be color schemes for the sidebar. This could be color schemes for the contact us section or the footer or something like that. So it can be colors, or you could even say this, fonts. And especially if you think about it this way, main colors of the website, and then to make the sidebar stand out, you don't want it to have the same colors. You want it to use an alternate color stack. So then you have colors for the sidebar. The color of the background, the color of the main header, the color of the subheaders, the color of the links, and then the fonts. You use one font family for the website, but then to make the sidebar stand out again, you might use the same font family or a different font family for the sidebar. So say you're choosing from, I don't know, 16 font families, 16. All right, and we're going to say we can use same or different for the sidebar. So it's 16 times 16 combinations. That's 256 combinations of font families. Just using 16 font families, we created a variety, 256. It is one of our variables. Physically, it looks like this. Whatever our font family is, for the different pieces here, right? Then if we're using a different font family, similar but different down here, could be the same, could be different, then there you go, okay? And then links could be different colors. Notice how the background's definitely different colors, we're working with different sets of colors for that, right? How many things also, take that 256, and what if you have 100 color schemes? That's 25,600 ways of just presenting the main website. But okay, let me just step back and point out what we've learned. What can you do to make all of these different? This could be this top bar could be on or off for the language toolbar, right? Could be on or off. That's a variable that makes for a change. There's variety. If it's here, this could be a different color. It could be the same color as this or just any other color. That's a lot of variety. Say we got 100 colors. Then the placement of this could be on the left, center, or on the right. Already the changes are huge. We have an on or off switch, but let's assume we want it on because we want people to see the language options. Let's assume it's important. Okay, it's like having the phone number on the site. We could take it off, but that doesn't do any good. Okay, so what do we want to say? It's on, right? We're going to say 100 colors times 3 different placements is 600 different varieties to provide Google right there, just in that top bar. There's 600. Okay. Now, with our 100 different colors, we're gonna use them in 3 different ways. We have like this kind of a header color, this kind of a subheader color, perhaps the same or even a third color for the small stuff over here. Okay, like this is probably the same color as this, just that this is bolded and this is not. Okay, and then the phone numbers have a hover color, which could be any color. Now, maybe we're still sticking to the same color. If so, we've got 100 combinations of colors times 100 combinations of colors. There's 10,000 color combinations. Times how many different fonts do we say? Like, let's say 16 business font families that are just mean and nice. So then 10,000 times 16, 160,000 combinations just of that. And then whether it's bolded or not bolded, although we're going to assume that we're going to keep all that the same because we like that way it's laid out. Okay. Times how many different logos might we be working with? 10. Okay. That's how much variety. So then that would be what? What do we say? 160,000 times, like 10 logos. So 1,600,000 times the background color. Okay, so almost 100, but we'll say that's not going to work with all the print. So let's say like 20. Okay, what do we say? 1,620,020. There's literally millions of combinations of variations that can go right into here. And then the navigation bar with its colors for the drop downs, its colors for the arrowheads, its whether lines separate the links or not. Okay, whether this is bolded or not, what font we're using, what color for the background, what color for the print, what hover colors for the background, and what hover color for the print. Okay, then how many image combinations do we say? Plus, how many hover over terms can we throw in there, like geo-targeted terms if we want? Now, we've got like how many variations of each of these? We could have created like 40, and then 40, and then 40, and then 40, and you've got like 40 combinations times 40 times 40 times 40. Times what? The color of the hover circle, right? When you hover over it, what color is that circle? Times the color of this and whether it underlines, whether it's bolded or not, times whether these are italicized or not. Now, not all of these by themselves, that's my point again, come back to our smorgasbord. No one change by itself is that fascinating to Google, right? But when you mix up, when you work with a lot of variety, right, then you can really create powerfully diverse outcomes, right? How many different versions of this image could we have? How many different versions of that image? How many different versions of this? How many different versions of that? Could be 40 times 40 times 40 times 40 combinations. Okay, so even if Google's going to go with 1/10 of that, 40 times 40 is 1,600 times 1,600 more, right? Then take a tenth of that. So that'd be 1,600 times 16. Okay, so it's, you know, over 20,000 combinations that Google will say yes to. And then all of this and this, like how many variations for the headers do we have up here? How many variations for the small paragraphs in here? What if we stuck the city into some of these so that it's a variable? Okay, just that alone creates a lot more diversity. And then what about the alt codes? How many different versions of the alt codes are we working with here? We could create more variations for that, couldn't we? I mean, the number of changes to improve pages is unbelievable. You could put in a video, you could stick in a contact us link, throw in a Google map, throw in some script that says, can we help you? You can stick in the translator toolbar. You can move the sidebar left or right. You can decide how many items show up in the sidebar. You can decide how many versions of images you're going to have in each case, like 10 versions of this, 10 versions of that. That's already 100 combinations, 10 times 10. And then what do the headers say? Say you got 5 different ways of saying that. Now you got 100 times 5 is 500 combinations just in there. And that's without talking about the 100 background colors for the sidebar. Okay? And everything else that you have down here, what color is going to be the border on the images, say, right? What color is the header going to be in? Is it going to be bolded? Which font is it going to be? And what different wording choices are you making there? Emergency garage door services could also be emergency garage door repair. Could also be 24/7 garage door services or 24/7 garage door repair. That's 4. Well, if we had 4 versions of that times, let's say somehow 4 versions of that times 4 times 4. There you go. It's 16 times 16, right? Times, like, how many different possibilities for the images here, right? By creating all these variations, we're creating a smorgasbord for Google to pick and choose from. We're letting Google decide what it wants to index and show the world. Google will choose the best of what we have and make it available. And they'll show happily higher ranking stuff if they find it. And so we will rise wherever we rise in rank, page by page by page, website by website by website. How do you improve it from there? Go take a look at what Google did. See where you're at. I found one guy who did almost 1 billion competing results for quality keyword, New York City lock repair. And yet, if you're in New York City, you would just do the search for lock repair. And that's for locksmiths. And just to make a point about how entirely competitive that industry can be, you know how many results there were last time I looked for New York City lock repair was 896 million. Insane. Now, granted, that's not just locksmiths though. By the time you say new and York and city and lock and repair, there could be many, many pages showing up with those 5 words in any combination on it, right? So hence the 896 million. But this guy had risen with a few backlinks out there, and the quality of his pages had risen to number 53 so far out of 896 million pages that Google is assessing for that term. So for him to show up for that broad term at number 53 out of 896 million puts him in the top 14 millionth place, meaning for every 14 million people's page put forth by 14 million people, say, if it was really like that, which it isn't. It's just for every 14 million pages trying to show up, he was beating him. He's beating the average 14 million pages. His is better. And could he make it better still? Yeah. Could we? Yeah, automatically even. That's what I mean. We now have that ability. We can go through 4 million pages, and if we did not have Laguna Beach here, we could add it in, and every page would say its own city nationwide. We could turn this into a variable to make sure it said either services or repair. Okay? And then we can make that a variable that either says offer or provide. Or provide you or offer you. That could be 4 variations right there. And I mean, literally, we could get from garage door installation routine repair maintenance services in Laguna Beach, thousands of customers in our service area, right? We provide support for thousands of customers in our service. We could add that Laguna Beach right into this paragraph, literally on all of those pages. Okay, that's how much control we actually have now. Okay, and that goes for everything on every page, and that's the reason that we're so extremely competitive now. So I wanted you to understand how variety works. Now on the inside of the admin panel, it's pretty simple. How do you create variety in here? You come to some section and you realize you have 2 choices times 2 choices times 5 choices. 2 times 2 times 5, 4 times 5 is 20, times 2 times 3, so 20 times 6 is what? 120, times whether this is on or off is 240, and if it's on, what do you want it to say, literally, and then whether this is on or off and what you want it to say here, and what's the phone number going to be. Enable navigation, yes or no. Align it left, center, right. That again is 3 times 2 for combinations, you could say. It's really 4 when you think about it, because it's left, center, right, or no. Okay, 4 then. And that would mean left, center, right, or no up here also. 4 there. But do you understand? I mean, we're barely getting into the page. We're thinking slider delay times for the banner slider if we enable it. How many images do we want in the banner slider? We got 5 in there now. You want to add another one? Hit add more. It'll create another one, a number 6. And you can fill it out with this information for a 6th option. Then you can drag and drop these things to put them in whatever order you want. They don't have to be in the same order. Okay. And that's exactly how much control you have to create variability. All of this and all of that and all of these. And yes, you could add more. Yes, you can put box rows in there at the rate of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6 per row. And you can do it this way and that way, and you can put them all in here, and you can flip some on and some off. I mean, the variability is endless. That is the point. And we can literally create that level of variability to be different for each and every single sitemap row on a single website, let alone being able to do this with all the websites at once. That is the extraordinary power we have now that basically no one has in any industry. You never see anyone offer that out there. You know, website guys don't offer that kind of power. Companies in different industries like plumbing, electrical, locksmiths, even, no one we've worked with has ever mass handled websites like that and been able to control each and every one individually. How's it look in Excel? Well, on one page, one of our tabs, we can just say 1010101, fluid layout, box layout, fluid layout, box layout. We could even mix and match. We go fluid, fluid, box, fluid, fluid, box, while we go 1010101. That way we get mix matches. Then we have right, left, right, left, right, left. Or in a different case where we can, right, left, center, right, left, center, right, left, center, and then we can mix and match again. Right, left, center, left, left, center, right, center, left, whatever. And then whether the translator's even on or not, right? And we can literally decide that. What is each line going to say, row by row by row? And which variables are involved, row by row by row? We can decide that. And for the typography, same thing now, row by row by row. What is going to be the same information? How, and we don't have a background image in, which is why all of this is left, top, repeat X is just defaults because there's nothing here. But if we did put these here, then these suddenly become applicable. Left top, left center, left right, middle top, or left middle, middle center, right middle, and then bottom. So like left bottom, center bottom, right bottom. And then repeat X, repeat Y, repeat X and Y, or no repeat. Okay. And that doesn't mean that all the choices are applicable in all cases. I mean, whatever. But that's how much variety. How many body text colors? You know, we could create more body text colors. We didn't really. But then like link colors, look at that, right? Link hover colors, look at that. I mean, literally, body text font family, look at that, right? We can go on and on and on and on. Body text, font size, etc. Font weight, and look at how long this thing is. Look at how many options we have to play with here. It just goes on and on and on and on. And that's my point. Creating variety and re-uploading these files to all the websites to just sprinkle in new variety. Endless and easy, okay? We can create twice as much content, cycle through it, re-upload. That's great. It's going to mix and match all the information correctly, and yet we can still maintain each row for each city properly. Each topic still the same. It's just more variations of how to say each thing for each paragraph, even for each sentence, okay? We can literally do it down to the sentence level, okay? So there you have it. That's how much control we have over everything now. And that's why we're not going to fail. Because while every company is trying to cut corners to avoid updates because it's expensive to pay everyone to keep doing that every single time manually, we can just sit down and mentally hammer out what we want to make happen on 100 websites times 4 industries, 400 rows in a single file for each and everything we're doing, and then just treat them 100 at a time. I could highlight 100 rows and make certain changes, highlight the first 100 and make certain changes, then go to the next 100 and make more changes, or highlight the next 100 rows and make more changes, right? I can do that with pages content. I can do it with colors. I can cycle through images. I can add in new things. There you have it, okay? And then just re-upload. We don't lose the focus of the pages, but we improve the SEO and we create more variety across the pages for print and so on. And if we choose to add more pages, right, literally more topics, it's just as easy to generate additional content and add it into the websites. We just add it to our files here and upload. We basically never have to log into an admin panel on any website for any reason anymore. That's what's new. And that means that we can absolutely run the show. All right. Hope you find this interesting and understand the value of permutations, the value of variety, and how easily we can handle variety now for anything we want to touch and do. And if you're getting assigned your own website and want to create variety within your website, you can absolutely do that. If you join the backlinking crew, right, on gettrialleads.com, and then you submit some portfolio work to show us what you've been doing, we will allow you access to your admin panel, and you can go in there and you can download these feed files and make changes and re-upload them. You can log into your site and make changes in the site, or you can do it right through the Excel files. You can download them, adjust them, and then re-upload. So if you got a 40,000 page website, and that's under your control, it's assigned to you, okay? Yeah, you can take care of it. By the way, when you sign up on the backlinking crew, you can see which websites are available and take the one you want, claim it, okay? Then we'll see how you do with backlinking, and if you do a good job, then we'll give you access to the admin panel, okay? So yeah, just backlink and upload your portfolio work, where obviously you can add work, show work, upload work. Let us see, just put some links in Excel so that we can go take a look at what you did. And then if you did a halfway decent job, okay, we'll give you access to the admin panel. That way you can coordinate your backlinking efforts with the keywords you want over here, with the SEO on page and over here. And if you want to add videos, images, improve SEO and paragraphs of all the pages of your sitemaps, your 40,000 pages, you can totally do that. Okay, there you go. Hope you found this interesting.